Hello again, everybody. Sam Smith, and welcome to our Super Bouts. Tonight, it's almost like the Roberto Duran show as we take you back to 1983 for a couple of very key bouts. Pipino Cuevas will be one of his opponents. The other is Davey Moore. As usual, on our Super Bouts, the KO Magazine columnist and ESPN boxing expert Al Bernstein is with us. We'll talk about Duran more, but let me talk about Cuevas for a moment. Former welterweight champion, a fight against Duran. He had lost a couple of big fights. This is a bigger one for him tonight.
Well, Pipino Cuevas needed a win very desperately to establish himself again as a contender in the welterweight division. He had lost his title to Thomas Hearns and sometime later had lost in a big fight to Roger Stafford here on ESPN. So he was no longer considered a real top threat in the welterweight division. A win over Duran would make him such.
Roberto, on the other side, was coming from the lightweight division, looking for a shot at the junior middleweight and then maybe even higher up, and this was a big one for him as well.
Well, a win over Cuevas would have established him as a fighter who could then challenge for a title. Cuevas was a name opponent, and even though some people suspected that Pipino's best days were behind him, they knew that Cuevas was a good puncher. So a win over Cuevas for Duran would be something that would launch him into a title shot.
Sounds like a couple of big punchers, and I think that's what the people in L.A. really pumped up for that fight were looking for.
Big crowd at the sports arena for this fight, mostly a Hispanic crowd, split in their loyalties between these two fighters, and they knew, yes, two big bangers were in there.
Well, it looks like it'll be an exciting night. Again, Pipino Cuevas goes against Roberto Duran in the first fight. Later on, we'll have Davey Moore against Duran. All here on the Super Bouts. We'll have round one in a moment. We're ready to go as these two fighters come out. Roberto Duran, Pipino Cuevas. Cuevas from Mexico City. Duran from Panama. Certainly the international flavor here in Los Angeles, and the sports arena is jammed.
Big crowd here, anxious to see if either of these fighters still have the skills left to be a top man in either the welterweight or junior middleweight division. Cuevas, a tremendous puncher in his heyday with a great left hook, and his problem is he tends to take a few too many punches, and of course Thomas Hearns took away the shroud of invincibility that was surrounding Cuevas when he just destroyed him to win the welterweight title.
Al Bernstein, these two fighters are both known for a good one punch, and I think that's exactly what they're a little bit leery of here in round one.
Well, Cuevas especially a one-punch knockout artist. Duran certainly the better defensive fighter, more skilled boxer, and that is, I think, the edge for him in this fight. But both serious questions surrounding them. Good straight right hand by Duran.
Roberto Duran, you'll see that same style almost in every fight before he comes into tonight. This, of course, is the patented style that he comes with. He will not change that much, even during the duration of the fight, as you see Cuevas going to the body well on Duran.
Those wide looping punches of Cuevas, and that has been a problem for him. He has been countered well when he throws those wide punches. Look for that from Duran.
The way this crowd is into the fight, they're cheering on almost virtually every swing of the fighters here. You see a little over halfway of round one.
Cuevas practically doesn't own a jab. I mean, he throws jabs very sparingly. And you see Duran using his jab a lot.
Cuevas, the former welterweight champion, again trying to regroup, as Al pointed out, after a couple of losses that certainly he didn't want to get, but now he needs a big fight against Roberto Duran, and Roberto, I'm sure, is well aware of that.
Cuevas still young here, 24 years of age. He was a champion so young, and he looked invincible as a welterweight champion until Hearns knocked him out.
It's almost a tragedy to talk about a young man at 24 that may indeed be close to the end of his possibility of fighting, even though he continues to fight well and is fighting well here in round one against Duran. Good right hand by Duran up over the top. Got inside on Cuevas. Closing seconds of round one. The crowd certainly into it here at the Sports Arena in Los Angeles. And we'll continue with more right after this. Bell sounds to start round two. Roberto Duran trying to climb up again out of the lightweight into junior middleweight division. Pipino Cuevas trying to regroup himself. As a former welterweight champion, he's in the red. Duran facing you. Leading with a right, coming with a left. Hook to the body.
Duran using his jab very effectively and showing his boxing skills against Cuevas. Duran trained very hard for this fight. Many questions about him. He had lost to Wilfred Benitez in his first bid for the junior middleweight championship, and he very much wants a good performance tonight against Cuevas.
Duran trying to do something to Cuevas. He's trying to make him circle clockwise into that right hand. Cuevas, as you saw just briefly there, went counterclockwise to stay away from that right hand.
Pipino Cuevas is a very awkward fighter. Throws shots in a very unorthodox manner, but has good power. He was at one time, I think, a better boxer than he is now. He has reverted back to some of these unorthodox ways. And against Duran, he'll pay for it because Duran will counterpunch him well.
Al pointed out that Duran doing well on the counterpunching. You will not see him back up that much in almost any fight. He'll keep coming at you, flipping the left jab, waiting to throw the big right hand. Not uncharacteristic. He'll lead with that right, though, so you can't be lulled to sleep. He had a notion to pull the string there, but held off on it. Well, I'm surprised that left hand, that jab, is getting in there that frequently.
Well, Cuevas does not have good movement. He does not slip punches that well. And against a fighter like Duran with some hand speed, he has a problem.
Well under a minute to go here in round two. Duran at 74-4, his record.
Good left hook by Cuevas, and yet another. And those are the kind of left hooks that were decking people a couple of years before this fight.
Cuevas decoyed that very well, almost leaning as if he was going down low, and then came to the top as well. So he is decoying a few of his punches, and Roberto Duran was sucked into the trap that time. You see the time winding down here in round two. Cuevas infighting with Duran. Duran not answering many of those punches right now. Closing seconds of round two. Just at the end of round one, we had a flurry. We do here in round two. Round three will be coming your way in a moment.
In round two, you will see Cuevas go on the inside with Duran, miss a hook, but land some shots in. A couple of those a little bit low. Later in the round, Cuevas did get his vaunted left hook on track, landed a couple, but Duran, not afraid to hook with him, came back with his own left hook.
Sam Smith along with Al Bernstein, a couple of junior middleweights. Roberto Duran in the white, Pipino Cuevas in the red as they battle here in round three. Sports Arena in Los Angeles abuzz almost since the start. Mexico City against Panama, if you will. Cuevas a good second round after Duran had fought well in round one.
And Cuevas wants to mix it up on the inside with Duran and use his left hook, but Roberto, a very adept fighter both inside and outside.
Al, you see a warning to both fighters to keep those punches up, particularly amplified since we saw that replay at the start of this round.
You know, one of the key differences here is that Duran able to use that left jab so well. He has an excellent jab, and Cuevas just doesn't even have one. There he threw a couple, but it's practically a non-existent punch for him.
Almost to the extent of that left hand by Duran has been just the primary punch, almost 70-30 at least in this fight. Couple of body shots there by Duran. Again, they clinch, try to hit out of it.
Cuevas is loading up, looking for that left hook, and that is his principal weapon. But while he waits, Duran is doing well with his jab.
Cuevas is also using that left hook to the body. And if Duran, of course, can smell that thing coming, a straight right to the head certainly will be effective as he's trying to fight out of a clinch there and hit Cuevas with a right hand.
You know, Cuevas has landed some big left hooks. Good left hand by Duran, and Roberto just unmoved by those lefts. Another good left hand by Cuevas. This is the toe-to-toe action this crowd came to see.
Left hand by Duran staggers Cuevas for a moment, but he comes right back.
Cuevas not a good defensive fighter. He's all offense, and Duran's counterpunching, getting to him. Good right hand by Cuevas.
Neither fighter backing up that much. After being hit and staggered both sides, they've come back with flurries of their own.
Cuevas has hit Duran with some excellent shots, and Roberto, not only fists of stone, but he's got a head of stone too, it looks like.
Under 30 seconds to go in this, the best round so far of the fight.
Excellent exchanges.
There's one thing about it, both have thrown their key punches, and neither of the other fighter looks affected by them, and they've got to be having the wheels to roll in their head right now. Under 10 seconds to go here in round 3. Crowd electric. They're getting ready for round 4, and so will we. Well, fireworks may be outlawed here in the state of California, but boy, they're getting them in the Los Angeles sports arena tonight. Roberto Duran, Pipino Cuevas, they're in round number 4 after a great third round, Al Bernstein.
They mixed it up in that third round and traded really big bombs, and both fighters took the best the other could offer.
Cuevas desperately needing a win. Roberto Duran trying to continue that great fighting skills that have made him renowned across the width and breadth of this country as well as around the world. Round 4. Nothing like round 3 was. Duran with a big straight right hand that time.
That rocked Cuevas. That right hand hurt Pipino Cuevas. He's in some trouble.
Cuevas does not want to stay on those ropes long, even though gamely he's trying to fight. Oh, another big right hand by Duran. A left hand. Cuevas is in all kinds of trouble. He's going down. Cuevas hanging onto the ropes, trying to stay up with a count here in the corner. Devastating attack by Duran.
Cuevas not a boxer. He will have a hard time getting out of the way of Duran and surviving here.
Round 4 has suddenly emerged into a punching back act by Cuevas as Duran is teeing off. Again, Cuevas trapped on the ropes.
He does not cover up well. He's having a hard time now, and he's getting raked over the coals by Roberto Duran. Trying to hold on.
The crowd here at the sports arena in Los Angeles. Many on their feet, sensing the end to Cuevas. Cuevas gamely trying to fight on, but Duran backs into the ropes. Another big, strong right hand. A left hand. Duran stalking his prey now. Cuevas knowing it and backing into the corner. A left hand. Oh, big right hand by Duran. Cuevas somehow is staying on his feet.
They may stop this.
They have not done so yet here in round 4. Cuevas is totally defenseless and is down. Second knockdown of the 4th round. Cuevas, a former welterweight champion, staggers to his feet. The referee says no, he cannot continue, and that's it. Roberto Duran with a TKO here in the 4th round.
Well, they both went toe-to-toe. It was indeed a macho struggle, and finally, it was Roberto Duran with more punching power, perhaps a surprise to some people.
You can't say it was a right or a left. It was the combination of Roberto Duran with a TKO here in the 4th. We'll continue with more of the super bouts right after this. Well, that bout certainly was short, but it was a sweet one for Roberto Duran, and certainly with the knockout in the 4th, sets up another big battle coming up for him with Davey Moore.
Well, indeed, this gave Roberto Duran the chance to challenge Davey Moore for the junior middleweight title. Moore, an undefeated young champion and a fighter who longed for just such a fight. Davey Moore felt a win over Roberto Duran would give him the recognition that he hungered for, and he had the perfect venue for it. This fight was set for Madison Square Garden, where there would be a sold-out arena of fans from New York, and it turned out most of them were rooting for Duran, though, not Davey Moore.
What about the fight and the style itself? How will these two fighters look?
Well, Davey Moore, a very powerful puncher, and some people thought that Moore would be too powerful for Duran. In fact, the consensus among the experts was just that. But Duran had a few tricks up his sleeve for young Davey Moore.
The excitement was pumped up in Los Angeles. It is even more so in Madison Square Garden in New York as our super bouts continue. For the Junior Middleweight Championship of the World, Roberto Duran against Davey Moore will have round one. We continue in just a moment.